Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Hope those of you who are in America and the US, enjoyed your Thanksgiving holiday. Hope you had some time off work, some rest, some connection time with whoever you can connect with these days in this era of COVID. Hope you're able to get outside. Living where I do, very blessed to be able to get outside this weekend in the cold, bright autumnal days. Calling in from a cold California morning, wondering how it is where you are. So, in a conversation with Laurie this morning, she mentioned that David White gave a talk, or at least part of a talk, the poet, about instead of using the word sheltering in place, the phrase rooting in place, which is a very different frame, as is sheltering in place a different frame than lockdown. And of course, how we frame our experience really significantly impacts how we approach and meet and welcome to that experience. And so I thought we'd just take a moment to reflect on what does it mean to root in place, since we're all being asked to stay home, stay local, stay close. And one of the gifts that I've found with the pandemic, not traveling, because I tend to travel a lot for my teaching work, especially my nature work, is becoming intimate with place. The rooting in place allows us to get to know, like for me, getting to know these trees, the oaks and the cypress and the redwoods next to my house, and get to know the trails and particularly the comings and goings of migrating birds, and getting to know the different light. And I noticed yesterday as the full moon rose, how different the angle of the rising was compared to summer, and just something beautiful when we root, when we stay home and close, that we can develop an intimacy. And with intimacy comes curiosity, and with that often arises love, appreciation, affection, gratitude, and wonder sometimes. So in these next few months, as we are asked to stay safe, stay local, stay at home, how can you hold that as a rooting and as a developing of intimacy with place, with home, with plants and trees and birds and flora in your neighborhood, in your yard, in your woodlands, or whatever it is you live by. So share a reading, part of a reading from Robert Macfarlane about roots. He says, lying there among the trees, despite a learned wariness towards anthropomorphism, I find it hard not to imagine these arboreal relations in terms of tenderness, generosity, and even love. The respectful distance of their shy crowns, the kissing branches that have pleached with one another, the unseen connections forged by root and hyphae between seemingly distant trees. I remember something Louis de Bernier has written about a relationship that endured into old age. We had roots that grew towards each other, underground, and when all the pretty blossom had fallen from our branches, we found that we were one tree and not two. As someone lucky to live in a long love, I recognize the gradual growing towards and subterranean intertwining, the things that do not need to be said between us, the unspoken communication, which can sometimes tilt troublingly towards silence, and the sharing of happiness and pain. I think of good love as something that roots, not rots over time, and of the hyphae that are weaving through the ground below me, reaching out through the soil in search of mergings. Theirs too seems to me then a version of love's work. So whether you can read this reading as a referring to person-to-person relationship or just relationship with anything, the way that we root and develop a relationship with a tree, with the sky, with a trail, with a mountain. And I was biking on Mount Tam yesterday, the local mountain here in Marin County, and just appreciating the myriad nooks and crannies and vistas. And I could spend a whole lifetime hiking on that mountain and not know that mountain, but also feel my roots growing into its roots. So let's sit together. Sitting is a kind of a rooting, kind of a sheltering in place, rooting in place, where we sit probably in the same spot every day. And we learn to ground, we learn to center, we learn to root, we learn to arrive. We learn to take nourishment up from the earth, from the present moment. And feeding the soul and the heart and the mind. So taking your meditation seat. As you close your eyes, feeling into the tendrils of roots of your body and its energy rooting into the earth, or the earth rooting into you. A sense of place where some of you have been living perhaps for years or decades. Feeling that rootedness. That groundedness. Feeling that connection with the earth and the ground under you. And as you settle into this moment, this place, what is to be known here? What is to be felt here? What is it to sit and settle and ground into the earth like a mountain, feeling your place, your rootedness? Where do the tendrils of your rootedness fan out to? Through the senses, through the sense of touch, feeling the impression of the earth, of the air, the coolness or warmth of air, the warmth of sun, coldness of breeze. Feeling that polarity, that range of experience as a human being, where we're both rooted and grounded, and open, reaching up the spine, reaching up the crown of the head, reaching up to the sky, the senses open to sounds appearing, disappearing, to the other senses of smell as we breathe in through our nose, so sensing into that combination of groundedness, centered in the body, touching the earth, like the canopy of a tree, receiving the breeze, impression, sensation, touch, warmth, coolness, sounds, this flow of experience. And within that, we may feel the steady rhythm of breath that connects the inner and the outer. So abiding in awareness and present to this selfless flow of phenomena, appearing and disappearing. And this way we practice together. sensing what allows you to abide in the present moment, feeling the support of the breath as an anchor, as the changing sensations of the body as a place to tether the attention, or the movement of sound or breeze. Staying here, this moment, rooted, connected, curious. Where is the attention in this moment? Relaxed in the body, alert with awareness, rooted into the earth, into this moment, receptive to whatever arises. In the last couple of minutes of the sitting, nearing intention for presence, for tuning with awareness to this moment, just this arising, this passing. Rooting in awareness, rooting in the present moment. And rooting in the experience of Sangha, of connection, of practicing together. And as we bring the practice to a close, just appreciating whatever it is that you are rooting into, the earth, community, breath, awareness, this moment. So nice to practice with your friends, as always. Nice to see your familiar and some new faces. As you know, these teachings are offered freely on Dharna. So if you wish to support the teachers and teachings, go to my website, markcoleman.org, to support me as I teach during the week. And yeah, I had the good fortune of teaching again a small live event on Friday. I have another one coming up this Friday with Laurie. A half day of nature practice for those of you who are local. And otherwise, friends, be well. Enjoy this beautiful autumn day. Take care. See you tomorrow. And I'll allow you to unmute yourselves if you like.